Whoa! How do we get back here?
When it comes to Julie and the Phantoms Season 2, there are some big questions we need answers to, like how the ending of Season 1 sets up a potential Season 2, or whether the show could continue beyond Netflix. Plus, the finale didn't really clear up whether the Phantoms get brought back to life. So let's dive into everything we know about Season 2 so far. Julie and the Phantoms, the Netflix original, ended on a major cliffhanger, leaving fans eagerly waiting for a Season 2 that never came. The show, based on the Brazilian series Julieandthephantoms Fantasmas, follows Julie, played by Madison Reyes, as she navigates the grief of losing her mom and finds her way back to music. She's helped by the ghosts of the band Sunset Curve. While Julie works through her own loss, the ghosts must also come to terms with their untimely deaths and the lives they left behind. After realizing that the ghosts can be seen as long as they perform with Julie, they form the band Julie and the Phantoms, helping the Sunset Curve members fulfill the dreams they didn't get to live out and supporting Julie as she faces her fears of performing without her mom. Despite being set in a supernatural world, the show stays grounded by exploring heavy themes like grief, as the characters process their own deaths and the loss of loved ones. Julie and the Phantoms Season 1 wraps up with a huge cliffhanger, leaving fans wondering about the future of the show, especially since Netflix hadn't confirmed a renewal for Season 2. In the final episodes, Alex, Luke, and Reggie come to terms with needing to cross over to end the curse Caleb Covington put on them. With Julie, they plan to perform at the Orpheum, hoping that the performance they missed the night they died will resolve their unfinished business. However, it turns out that the Orpheum isn't the key to ending their ghostly existence. After failing to complete their task, the boys are ready to fade away, but then, in an emotional moment, Julie hugs them and they become solid for the first time. Meanwhile, Caleb Covington, who's taken over Nick's body after the boys stop him from stealing their souls, goes to confront Julie. But what exactly does this dramatic ending mean for the show's future? One thing that's still unclear is whether the Phantoms were actually brought back to life. The Season 1 finale leaves their fate deliberately ambiguous. When the Phantoms finally accept that the curse could end their existence, Julie, overwhelmed by emotion, embraces Luke. To everyone's surprise, her hug makes Luke stronger and the entire band shares a hug, with all three boys becoming more solid. As they glow, Caleb's curse is lifted and his mark dissolves. While the cliffhanger leaves us wondering what comes next, the resolution of the boys' journey of accepting their deaths and the new reality of being ghosts is powerful. If they were brought back to life, that could have set up a thrilling direction for Season 2. Even if they weren't fully restored as living people, the idea of them having physical bodies would have opened up exciting possibilities for how they could interact with Julie and other characters. It's a moment of emotional closure for the season, but also a door left wide open for more adventures. One of the biggest surprises in the Julie and the Phantoms Season 1 finale is that Sunset Curve's final performance at the Orpheum wasn't actually their unfinished business. The boys tried to avoid facing the truth by teleporting back to the garage, hoping to wait for death in peace, but Julie finds them there. This leaves us wondering what their real unfinished business is. Willie had previously explained that their unfinished business should be something tied to all three Phantoms since they died at the same time, but they don't know what that could be if not the Orpheum. The most likely answer ties back to Trevor Wilson, the surviving member of Sunset Curve. Trevor avoided death by staying behind to flirt with Julie's mom, who was working as a waitress instead of eating the contaminated hot dogs that killed the rest of the band. He then stole Luke's songs and became a successful musician, all while never giving credit to his deceased bandmates. Now, with the boys back in physical form, or at the very least able to interact as solid beings, they can finally confront Trevor. In the Season 1 finale, Trevor watches their performance at the Orpheum and recognizes them for the first time. This opens up the possibility for the Phantoms to finally face Trevor and finish what was left undone, potentially setting the stage for a powerful confrontation and resolution in Season 2. In Julie and the Phantoms, Caleb Covington is a ghostly musician who spends much of the series trying to force the Phantoms to work for him in his nightclub. Using his mark and a soul-stealing stamp, Caleb traps the Phantoms, giving them the grim choice of working for him or disappearing from existence. In the Season 1 finale, they manage to foil his plan, but Caleb isn't done yet. He shows up at Julie's house and takes over the body of Nick, the sweet high school boy who has a crush on Julie. The season ends with Caleb plotting his revenge, leaving us wondering what his next move will be. While it's unclear whether Nick is dead or if he has the ability to fight back, this twist marks the first time Caleb and Julie come face to face, although she remains unaware of the danger. This raises major questions about Caleb's intentions and his plan for Season 2. Although Caleb is clearly the villain running a nightclub full of ghost servants who've sold their souls to him, his interest in the Phantoms goes beyond just using them for their power. Caleb seems to want to gain Julie's trust and leverage the Phantoms' unique ability to be seen by the living for his own gain. His obsession with power and inability to accept the Phantoms breaking his curse makes him even more determined to force them into his service, setting up a tense conflict for the next season. The Season 1 finale of Julie and the Phantoms set up a lot of intriguing possibilities, even though Netflix didn't renew the show for a second season. One major mystery left hanging is whether Alex, Reggie, and Luke are now living in human bodies. This could have led to exploring what happens when they return to their old lives. For Luke, a major part of his storyline was about finding closure with his parents, and Season 2 could have delved into a potential reunion with them. Julie, having come to terms with her mother's death, could have moved forward with her family, and Alex would have continued exploring his relationship with Willie. However, Willie's soul being owned by Caleb complicates that path. Season 1 set up a supernatural world full of unanswered questions, but unfortunately, Netflix canceled the show nearly 2 years after it premiered. Fans were hopeful for a Season 2, especially since it was one of the first high-profile projects from Netflix's deal with Kenny Ortega. Despite strong social media campaigns demanding closure, like a movie, miniseries, or a deal with another streamer, nothing has materialized. Still, the show lives on in a different form, with 3 Julie and the Phantoms books released during the series' run. These books include We Got the Magic, a peek inside Julie's notebook, a fun, fan-focused companion, Julie and the Phantoms: The Edge of Great, a novelization of Season 1, and Julie and the Phantoms: Whatever Happens, a prequel offering backstory on the characters. Although it's uncertain if more books will come, the series' cliffhanger suggests there was so much more to explore. The supernatural themes, especially those centered on grief and love, felt like they were just getting started. While the ending wrapped up Julie's personal journey with her grief, the Phantoms' mysterious transformation left plenty of open doors for what could have been the next chapter in the story. Even though Netflix might not pursue more seasons, the world of Julie and the Phantoms could continue to grow in other forms, maybe through books or even another medium in the future. And that's that for today's video. Thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next one. Your suggestions for future videos are always welcome in the comments below.